What's up, guys? In the garage today we have some visitors.
Right.
It's one of our fellow wrench benders. They've come up here and checked out our projects every once in a while, see what's going on. And today I am working on the 14 bolt again. If you watched our previous video, I talked about a under axle truss. So I'll show you what I've got going on here where we're going to get started. So this right here might look familiar. That's my drawing I done. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the bottom portion of this piece of cardboard as my template. So I've got a cut up in here. I've got some marks made. I'll design the template for my piece of metal that I've got to have that will sit down over the differential and sit on the axle tube so I can weld to the tube. And I've got a piece of 2-inch wide channel that will come up and then over the housing and back down the other side. So I'm going to get busy measuring and cutting, drawing for my template here, and get that done, show you what that's like. What you've seen there was I took some measurements to kind of get me a rough average, and I cut that piece out of the cardboard on the bottom side, and that's basically my differential housing. And then when I set this on the axle, oops, I got to turn around backwards. I got to pay attention to what I'm doing. So that right there will sit on the housing roughly like that, and it does not come in contact with the actual housing itself. It will weld to the tube. Of course, it'll be straight on there, and right now it's not straight, but that will weld on the tubes. Now I've got to make my angles coming down and figure out where I'm going to come up off of here and draw my angles doing that. So, next step. I've now made my exterior shape, so it will be something about like that. I'm going to have to cut the ends off a little bit more because I've got to make room for the channel to bend over and go to the axle. But that right there will more or less be the bottom of the truss. And I may cut this down some here and not make it so tall off the differential here. That's yet to be determined. But yeah, that's my template. So now it's time to find a piece of metal that I want to use, put that template on, draw out, and then cut it out with our favorite tool, the death wheel. I've taken my template, laid it out. I'm actually starting to think about doing 2 of these pieces with my channel. Make it look more like the top truss that we added. Since I did choose a thinner metal against the wall there. Kind of the route I'm deciding to go right now. We'll see if I mess up here in a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. And we'll see how it works. Trying to use up all of our partial discs to get them off the welding bench. I don't get a whole lot of work done in between each one, but they're getting wore out though. So I've got them cut out. I could have gave you guys a whole lot more video of me cutting these out with the death wheel, but after a while listening to the grinder run and just seeing sparks fly is not fun to look at anymore. And it takes some time. So this is 1/8 inch plate, and where I'm going to build a box style. It's not quite as hardcore as this top truss I got, but time you get it all set together with the channel, it will be really stout and will really add the strength to this axle. So now you can see I've got them. Got some vice grips and a C-clamp. I've got it all clamped together because I've got these roughly cut out. So now what I want to do is I've got to make 2 last cuts, and I got a good measurement length now. And then I'm going to take the flapper wheel and I'm going to just smooth all these rough edges out from where I cut. But these 2 pieces need to be exactly the same the way they're going to sit. So the best way to do that is just clamp them both together, and then you can shape them together so they will be exactly the same when you're done. So now it's time to fire up the grinder again. I've done is I cleaned up the piece of channel. I took measurements from my corners on my truss, and I made cuts all the way through to the back side. So I will be able to take a angle grinder with a cutoff wheel. I will be able to cut these corners out once I get it all set in place. I may have to add some heat to the back side to bend that around. But I've got this section mocked up, and all I need to do is I need to weld this section right through here, this bottom section, starting from that seam to this seam, and then I'll flip it around, do the other side, and then I can set the truss up, cut my corners out, heat that back section and level it out, and then weld this section, and then continue on down through there, and then I'll do the ends and fold them up. And then this will be my box beam that will run the bottom side of that differential. So I'm going to fire the welder up and get a few decent tacks put down. It's pretty well it for the day. I am going to finish welding some of this up. I'm not going to get it done today. I'm not going to get it on the axle today. It's been a long day, and as you can see, there's a lot of stuff to do here. A lot of it I haven't had on film, but if you want to see how this thing looks all in place on the axle, watch next week's video when I put this on the axle, and we'll do shock mounts and maybe look at a few other things to kind of finalize the axle before we start putting everything back together to go into the truck. If you have not hit the subscribe button already, please do. Like having subscribers, like knowing there's people out there watching our stuff. If you got something you're working on that we might find neat, check out our social media, comment, reach out to us, share some pictures of your projects, and that's pretty well it. So, thank you guys for your time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.